Hello everyone, this is Dr. YASHASHWINI presenting here on the topic research methods. In the last video of mine, I have already explained to you what exactly research is. Research is all about finding answers to the questions and finding solution to the problems. Now in this topic, that is research methods, it's being classified into two forms: classification based on purpose, classification based on methods of study. Under classification based on purpose, the first one is pure research, applied research, exploratory research, descriptive study, diagnostic study, evaluation study, action research, and the second form of classification is based on methods of study. Under that, experimental research, analytical study, historical research, and survey. To have a deeper understanding about research methods, I'll explain to you single step by step of various methods of research. First one, pure research. Now to understand the better knowledge about pure research is conducted or either undertaken only for the sake of knowledge, but there is no intention in implementing in the real life situations, most of the situations. For an example, Einstein's theory of relativity, let's take that is E equals mc square. Or even if you take for an example, the black hole. Now to understand the background about it, it's a pure science. Now this form of research can also be called as basic or fundamental research. Giving you another better example, a research to discover the components of the human DNA. What are the components which basically makes the DNA of a human? This is all about pure research. Now the second form of research is applied research. Under applied research, we try to find out a solution to real life situations. How? Either we take an action towards it, either we basically make few policies or decisions which in turn helps us to solve the problem of this particular research. Now to understand applied research, it is all about problem oriented and action directed. Giving you an example when it comes to applied research, the pre-pandemic and post-pandemic, how was the behavior of the consumer when it comes to buying process? It could be anything. It could be any of the thing. Could be like a retail or it could be a services. It could be a product or it could be a services. Now, the second example is how do we improve the agricultural crop production? First year, how was agricultural crop production? Second year, how can we improvise the same and get a better yield? Third example is when it comes to organization, how can we make a very appropriate hiring process? It means putting the right individual to the right place at the right task or the right job. Now that is basically an applied research. Now, much better understanding on this, exploratory or formulative research. Under exploratory or formulative research, it's like this. A researcher is conducting a first step of a study, which is so called as preliminary study, where a researcher is completely unfamiliar about the problem, or probably the researcher might have a very little knowledge about this particular problem. Now, it's exactly like this, a patient who is suffering from an unfamiliar health problem, trying to find out a solution through which step-by-step investigation. Let's take for an example. To assess the impact of FDI on the levels of economic growth in India. How is that foreign direct investment is helping us step by step for leveling up the economic growth in India? That is first example. Second example is, if you can see, there are a lot of brands which basically goes under rebranding. Does this rebranding initiatives, does it affect the levels of customer loyalty? Giving an example of Instagram, how was it logo before and after? So does this rebranding basically has an impact on customer loyalty? So this is all about exploratory or formulative research. The next form of research is descriptive research. This research is purely about fact-finding investigation, and this is one of the simplest form of research. Now, if you are asking a question, how do we have a fact-finding investigation? Collect the appropriate data, sort out the data, and interpret accordingly. This particular form of research is basically called as descriptive research. Giving you a very easiest example, A company willing to sell to its target market needs to find study the behavior of the market. Let's take one example in India. Maruti cars. There are various brands of Maruti cars when it comes in. As such, Desire, Wagoner, Alto, Ertiga, Swift, etc., etc., etc. Now, with this, the company needs to reach a perfect target market with an appropriate product according to the market behavior. So, this is all about descriptive research. Now, coming down to the next form of research is diagnostic research. What is this diagnostic research? This diagnostic research is all about directed towards discovering few questions, answering to few questions. What are these questions? What is happening? Why is it happening? What can be done about it? And it helps us to find out the cause of a problem and also find an appropriate possible solution to it. Give you an example in a working environment. If this particular stress basically has an impact on patients. Now there are few suspects, like there is a coronary artery disease when it comes to reason for stress. Now how do we go about it? We need to check the history of the patient and make physical examination on the same. Now if we basically go through this particular process, we can understand what is happening, why is it happening, and what can be done about it. So this is diagnostic research. And the next form of research is evaluation study. Now this evaluation study is about assessing the effectiveness of a social or economic programs implemented. Now how do we assess it? First, let's take one example, irrigation project. Under irrigation project, first year the irrigation project has given us so much of yield. Second year irrigation project has given us so much of yield. In the first year, when we implemented this irrigation project, was it effective enough? Was this program being implemented? Was it effective enough? Has it given us the expected return or not? So this is evaluation study. Giving you one more example, Bengaluru Metro Rail project. Before this particular project was being established, there was a report completely made on environmental impact assessment. So, cutting down the trees, making this particular project work, is there any impact on the environment? So, this was being studied under the evaluation study. Now, the next form of research is action research. Now, what is exactly action research is? It is concurrent evaluation. It is just not a single evaluation. It is a concurrent evaluation. It is again and again evaluation is being done to understand where this particular project or a problem or a situation basically stands in. Now, if a program is being launched, let us understand how does this work. Giving an example, in an action research, organization change is relevant. Why? Business is a very dynamic environment. Now, it is like this, today's invention might not be sustainable for tomorrow. So in this scenario, organization change has become mandatory in nature. Giving you an example, organizations are coming out with big data, artificial intelligence, and coming out with market analytics, research analytics. Now all these are the changes which is happening in the organization, which in turn, to meet the client expectations, the organization is supposed to inculcate this different kind of scenarios when it comes to business environment. So this is about action research. The next form of research comes under classification based on methods of study. First one is experimental research. Now if you all think experimental research is all about conducting the research in the lab, not only that. It is like, let's take one example, a scientist has kept 4 assumptions. Now keeping one assumption constant and letting all the other 3 assumptions vary. This will help us understand that all these other assumptions, how does it vary if one particular assumption is being controlled. Giving you an example, in a particular test of medicine, where there are 3 different groups of individuals who are being divided. First group is being divided by giving to a particular disease an amount of medicine is high dosage. For the second group, it is a low dosage, and the third group, it is a medium dosage. Now, we need to understand, based on the medicine given with the high, low or medium dosage, what is going to be the changes in the individual's body. That is experimental research. Now coming down to the next form of research, this is historical research. Historical research is being done based on the past records and other informations. How? We can actually reconstruct the origin of this particular research by the help of understanding and discovering the past issues or phenomena, or it could be about background. Giving you an example, what is the real causes for civil war? First example. Second example, why there are social inequality among individuals in various parts around the world. Reasons for this. This compiles historical research. The next form of research is survey. What is survey? Survey is a fact-finding investigation which is done in a large form, considering the universe where the samples are being collected. Samples are being collected. It means the items which are being drawn from the population or the universe at a particular point of time to conduct a research. A new product is being launched into the market. Taking a feedback from those customers who have utilized that particular product is one of the way of conducting survey. There is a new service which is being launched to the market. Again, taking the feedback from those particular customers who availed the service will help us to understand what exactly the customer's expectations are. So this is about survey. The next form of research is case study. Case study can be conducted on any form. It could be about a particular situation, it could be about a person, social group, episode, or a program, or a community institution, anything as such. But when it comes to case study, it is about in-depth research and understanding how can we find a possible solution to this particular problem, alternative solution to this particular problem. And this form of research is called as case study. Well, thank you so much for listening to me. Have a great day. Thank you.